Hello, friends, and welcome. Namaste. So I have a class that I want to move us towards the peak pose of Warrior 3. That said, I just got back from a weekend with friends, and my niece and I were at one of those big trampoline gyms, and I definitely feel soreness in my body from a little overexertion doing that. So I may have some modifications that I'm doing, but you'll always have the option to go more full out. That said, find yourself in that long spine position, I'm going to call it, where you feel steady, sthira, but there's also a sense of ease, sukha, sthira sukha asanam. Notice anything in your body that is asking to be noticed, right? Hopefully we get to a point where we can tune into any part of our body and we can notice information coming in through the sensory organs. But a great place to start is just noticing what's talking to you right now. Bring your awareness into your breath. Simply notice it without changing it. That's a practice all on its own. And you can have the eyes open or closed as we do this first part of breath work. The first part of our practice is going to be breath work. And we're going to do skull shining breath, Kapalabhati. And it's an exerted exhale and a natural inhale, right? So you don't effort on the inhale, you just let it come in softly, naturally. But on the exhale, you use the muscles of the abdomen to push back into the belly, right? So it pushes the air up onto the abdomen. So my spine doesn't move. I still have my long spine, but yeah, it sounds something like that. And you can go any pace you want to go. You don't have to go the pace that I go. I tend to go slower than a lot of people because I'm more mindful and I feel like I get more benefit. So long spine, eyes open or close. Inhale, and here we go for 30 seconds. And pause. Notice the effects of that breathing practice, that pranayama. If it doesn't feel right for you, it's causing dizziness, headaches, anything like that, you would not do it again. If it feels like it's giving you a little bit of energy and you'd like to play again, you can leave your hands on your side and do it by your palms on the thighs, just like we've been doing, and do it again. Or you can lift your arms up and out. You can have them anywhere. I tend to go wide so my shoulders stay soft. The idea is lifting the ribs and letting them separate a little bit to give a little more space around the lungs, right? So inhale, whatever choice you're making. Here we go. Try to keep the jaw soft. Inhale is natural, exhale is exertion. And bring your arms down if they were up. Come back to a natural breath. Notice the effects. And then go ahead and you can move your props out of the way if you're working with props. You can leave the blanket there. We are going to do one lunge with a knee down. So if you want to have that blanket stay under your knees, that would be a great place to stay. And then go ahead and just start to come in and out of cat-cow. And let's just warm up the spine a little bit before we do too big of movements. Yeah. Nothing too special to add today, just feeling out the spine. And then coming to neutral, and let's do our side stretch, which is where we wag our tail to the right, look over our right shoulder, wag our tail to the left, look over the left shoulder. And again, you're just bringing the spine in and out of lateral stretches to the right and the left. For our twist, we're going to go ahead and we're going to reach the right hand past the left wrist. Reach, reach, reach. Try to set down. I can never get my shoulder all the way down, but I can usually get my head down or support it on something, right? And then go ahead and try to soften a little bit once you get in. Find that length of the right side of the neck here if you can. Let it get a little stretch. Breathe. Left hand can do whatever you'd like it to. And then go ahead, left hand comes under the shoulder if it's not already to push you up. And then right into the other side, left hand under right shoulder. Go ahead and move along, move along. I'm also not speaking very well today. And then, whatever you want to do with the right hand. And again, try to look for that space between the left shoulder and the left side of the neck. If it feels safe, and try to stretch, let that stretch. You don't have to do anything. You just get out of the way and soften. Right hand under shoulder. Go ahead and come on up. Make your way back into downward facing dog. And, feel free if you want to. It's the first one. If there are any moves that would help your body to open up a little bit, go ahead and take those. Come to stillness when you're ready and take about 2 breaths. And then coming into the work of last week, we talk about this a lot, but we looked at it last week. When you lift the right leg up in a 3-legged dog, right? It's not about getting really high. You're keeping the toes turned down to the floor in the inner groin. Ask it to participate of the right leg. Basically, we're looking for neutral rotation, right? Neutral pelvis, neutral spine. And then go ahead and come forward towards a plank. Pull your nose and your knee together and pull up away from the floor. Push the right heel back. Again, and I'm not breaking it down as much because we've been doing this. Come forward. If you're not familiar, go back 1 and 2 weeks and you will find videos where we work this line and where I break it down a little bit more. Do 1 more of those, so 3 total. And go ahead and send it back. Set the right foot down and recalibrate to find neutral. Just in case, maybe you kept neutral the whole time. I never do, almost never anyway. Inhale the left leg up. Again, take a couple of moments and notice. We don't want the left hip to lift, so don't lift the left hip, the left heel high, right? But rather keep the toes turned down. Ask the inner groin to participate. Inhale, and with an exhale, come forward towards that crunched position. It's kind of half plank, half crunch body, right? Half fetal position. And go ahead and move into that again. Try to keep your heel as close up to your butt as you can and your knee as close to your chest as you can. Even if it goes away, once you get there, pull it up, right? That's the power we need to step that foot forward. And then bring that down. And now we're going to step the right foot forward. So inhale the right leg up, square hip. Use the same line to try to step the right foot forward. Bring the left knee down. Leave it lifted if you have a sensitive knee, of course. And then left hand on the ground, right hand on the right knee. Lengthen the spine. And let's move into a twist for a moment here. And just feel that out in the body. If you'd like to extend the right arm, you are welcome to. And then I'm going to talk for my arm extended friends. We're going to do just a little opening in the back body. You're going to rotate the ribs down and just kind of reach forward and away with that right hand. And then when you roll back up, bring your right arm into cactus arm and look up if you can. If not, just stay right where you were. Inhale, rolling down. Again, we're just rolling through the side and the back side of the body, moving into whatever that's called, cactus arm, and then reach the right arm up, bring that hand down. And if it's available for you, leave that left knee down, bring the arms forward and up or out to the side. That part doesn't matter so much. And here we are in crescent. Now I'm going to have you grab your elbow points and pull up and try to lengthen through the side waist, right? In this pose, we tend to go into an anterior tilt and the solar plexus kind of moves forward. It's not the worst place. You can work from there. But when you go into warrior 3, you're going to want that solidity, that stability, right? So we're lengthening the side waist to see if we can't keep the back waist long as well. Reach the arms back up, maintaining that. Bring the hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. And breathe. Inhale the left leg up. Exhale, bring it forward between the hands using that method we've been working. Right hand stays down, left hand on the left thigh. Get long first, right? Exhale into the twist. You can push the left hand on the thigh to help that. And then maybe that left arm reaches up, maybe it stays. So now we start to figure out where we're going to live for the day. Hand stays on the thigh, arm reaches up. Those are two options. If you'd like, reach the left arm forward as you rotate the ribs down and just kind of reach out of that back side waist. And then when you come up, bring that elbow into goalpost if it's available for your shoulder girdle. And do that again. Where exactly do you reach to? I don't know. Play with it. Where do you feel like you're moving through that backside body? Next time you're up in cactus arm, just simply reach the fingertips up, not back, just straight up. Bring the hand down. Moving into crescent lunge with the right knee down or up if you need to be. Again, I'm going to ask you, put the other forearm in front, grab your elbow points, and just notice if you're in anterior tilt first. Let me say that, right? And that's most of us. If you are, notice that when you pull the elbow flesh up and you lengthen through the side waist, it tends to bring the front abdomen in a little bit, right? And the back waist elongates. Take a breath from there. Reach the arms up. Bring the hands down, step back, downward facing dog. Breathe. Now, if you need to switch your position to get that blanket out of there, get it out of there. If you can just go to one hand, moving the blanket from your downward dog, you can go ahead and do that. Come forward into plank. Just because we're practicing lately, exhale, pull your belly up a little bit, low back rounds, look back at your belly button. You don't go into a crazy full arch, right? Inhale or rounding. It's a medium one. Think of it coming more from the low back. Do it again, rather than the upper back. Yes, the upper back rounds a little bit. Of course it does. And then knees can come down or up. Go ahead and come on down. I'm bringing my knees down again. My body's still recovering from trampoline bouncing with a teenager. And then from there, inhale up into low cobra. And lengthen through that whole front side of your spinal column, right? In a healthy way. Exhale, come on down. This time, zip your legs up, right? Hug your outer ankles, your outer shins, your outer hips, your outer thighs in, and then inhale up into low cobra like you just were. Now, some of my friends, that's plenty. Some of my friends lift the feet a little bit, but when you do that, don't let your belly drop down, right? And your ribs. Yes, of course, they're on the floor. You don't pick them up off the floor, but I want you to tone them back towards the spine and keep that low back long, right? And then go ahead and push on back through to downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up into the air and use that method to try to step it forward. And then step your left foot forward. You're going to squat down all the way to your buttocks. You're going to come down all the way to the ground. I'm going to help myself. It's funny coming back to other movement after doing that. I did stretches and stuff, but I haven't done a full class. So my body's like, whoa, I don't know about that one, Mom. Go ahead and reach that right heel up to the sky. Bend, straighten the left leg out. So bend the right knee for just a second. I want you to notice that when you bend the right knee, you get a little bit of slack around the pelvis, right? It's not quite so taut, this whole region. And with that right knee bent, make sure your toes are going behind you as well as your knee. That's going to be important when we go to Warrior 3. Reach your arms overhead, grab your elbow points, and lengthen through the side waist, just like we did a little bit ago, right? So it's not a dissimilar position. It's very similar to where we were just moments ago. We're just have our back on the ground now. Now from there, I want you to watch, pay attention with your mind's eye to your hips, to your low back, right? And to your low floating ribs. Try not to let them lose the length they have as you push the right heel up and straighten the right leg out any amount, right? And breathe. And maybe you don't straighten the right leg any fully. And then I want you to notice that so that when we go into Warrior 3, you're not trying to force your body into something that it couldn't do when you didn't even have weight on the leg, right? And I don't mean that meanly. We have to find out where our truth is and work from there. Okay, we're flexing both feet. We're working strongly. My ribs, low ribs down on the ground. My low back, hopefully a little bit of space. Middle of the sacrum. And then actually, let's add a little core. We're going to lower that right leg down on about a 5 count, a little quicker than we usually do. Try not to let anything change with the lowering of the leg. And if it does, you're not a bad yogi, you're a bad person. You don't have a bad body. You can bring your arms down and rest for a moment. But what it is it's exploration, right? It's like, ooh, wow, that's interesting. I can't lower my leg, my right leg, without my ribs popping up. I wonder if I could use more strength on the front side of that part of my body so I can maintain that in the future, right? And then, you start to know patterns that you go into. Both feet on the ground, knees bent. Reach that left leg up. I guess I could lift your right leg, extend your right leg all the way out. So again, you can start working towards extension and then bend the left knee and just notice that it puts a little bit of slack in the pelvis, right? And it's going to help us find a couple of other things. Make sure your left knee and your left toes are both in line and pointing behind you, the head side of the mat. By that is what I mean. Grab your elbow points overhead, other one on top, forearm, and then lengthen. Try to lengthen the side of the waist so much that your low floating ribs maintain contact. You're on the middle of the sacrum and the low back comes up just a little bit, right? Just that little curve. And then start to extend your left leg towards straight any amount. It never has to straighten. Both legs are in neutral rotation, working in their respective directions. And think of, pretty soon we're going to have the weight on that left foot. It's like you're standing on the ceiling. And then go ahead and keep your hands overhead, right? But you're going to lower that left leg. And again, I want you to notice what is really hard for your body to maintain as you do that. Is it the low belly? Is it the pelvic floor? Is it, your arms want to let go? Your shoulders want to move up? Is it the ribs want to flare? Bring the arms down, soften. And then you know that. And so now you can start to tell what parts of your body need a little more strength, what needs to be a little more supple, and you balance your personal body. We're going to bring the legs in and we're going to rock up. I'm not going to because I kind of re-triggered a little bit of whiplash trauma in my neck when I did the trampoline. So that one's too hard for me. Come into downward facing dog. Inhale the right leg up into the air behind you. Bring that foot forward. And here we are. This is pretty much the same position, is it not, that we were just on the floor? If this ends up being too much work for your core, you could just leave your hands on your hips the whole time, right? Or on blocks or on the ground. If it's available with that right knee bent, grab your elbow points overhead, lengthen through the side waist, right? Keep the shoulders soft. Now step forward a little bit with that left foot till you have a little more weight in your right leg and reestablish. And then see if you can start to lift the left leg up, keeping the right knee bent. The very last part would be the straightening of the right leg. I can't join you there today. As a matter of fact, I'm going to put my left foot down. I've had enough myself. And either in a modification of or in Warrior 3, and here's a modification of if you're looking for one, right? And then step that left foot down and come into downward dog. And breathe. So again, my intention before I went to trampoline land was to teach Warrior 3 this week. And so I still want to honor that. But as you can tell, right, sometimes it's like we can be in a class and we can still take the class and modify it to meet the needs of our day. Inhale the left leg up. Go ahead and bring it forward between the hands. Feel free to move in blocks if you need blocks, right? Otherwise, you're going to grab your elbow points, other forearm on top if you can manage. You're going to lengthen the side of the waist, right heel pushes back. Step forward just a little bit till more weight is in that left leg. And again, I'm going to switch to blocks because I just don't have it in my body today to do that. And keep that elbows crossed, grabbing elbow creases, right? Ends of elbows, tips of elbows, and try to lift the right leg, but keep the left knee bent. It's excruciating to keep that knee bent. You have to work way harder. But usually we can find a little more alignment in the body and then slowly straighten the left leg, but don't let the hips move and the right foot sway over to the left or whatever might be trying to happen in your body. What is it? And then slowly fold that right leg back down. One more downward facing dog. And I have some friends who have been wanting to go with me into heat land these days. So those of us who want a little more heat, we're going to come forward to plank. Knees can be up or down. Exhale through your push-up. Inhale, low cobra if you're ready for upward dog. I'm not teaching it, but it's all yours. And exhale back, downward facing dog. Bring the knees down, spread the knees wide, bring the toes together, and bring the forehead to the earth. Child's pose. There's a different pose that is more comfortable for you. Take it. Soften the breath. So you all know that I personally
prefer to teach bigger poses when I have an hour and a half to explore the component pieces and parts. But I know all y'all have about 20 minutes. Most of you have about 20 minutes to give. And so I'm trying to find that balance, right, of still taking on some peak poses or maybe a little bit of heat in a shorter time period. If you have time to lay on your back and take a quick shavasana, or you have some stretches you want to do before you do that, right, and finish up, please do. But in the honor of trying to make a shorter sequence, like a 20-minute sequence, we're going to say namaste from here today. Namaste, friends.